Welcome to the Ohio Family Care Association Annual Conference. This is us, the role we each play in the future of Ohio's families. We are so happy we get to be together again today after 2 years, and grateful that it's safe to do so. My name is Ella Coma, and I am the Director of Communications and Events at Ohio Family Care Association. I previously served as an AmeriCorps Vista with OFCA and then came into this role about 6 months ago. I've absolutely fallen in love with the people of OFCA and the passion they have, so I'm excited for you all to see it these next 2 days. For those of you who don't know, the Ohio Family Care Association is driven and directed by an all-volunteer leadership team. This team is made up of those with lived experience in at least one of our family groups: primary, kinship, foster, and adoptive. I'm going to ask the team, Georgetta, Whitney, Bobby, I don't think Veronica's here yet, to stand up real quick so that people can identify you. There's Whitney, Bobby, and Georgetta. Thanks, team. I want you guys to know who they are so you can ask them questions. They're an amazing resource and full of knowledge and passion. Their experience is invaluable. While we are talking about lived experience, I want to thank one of our continuing supporters who ensures that this leadership team can function how it does and continues to make a difference. Crystal Allen from Casey Family Programs, thank you for your continued support of OFCA and believing in the power of this leadership team. We would also like to thank the Dave Thomas Foundation for their sponsorship of filming this conference. This ensures that this vital work can continue after this conference ends. Lastly, Ohio Family Care Association would like to thank the Ohio State Bar Foundation for their grant given to us to dive into the racism in Ohio's child welfare system. Before we dive into that work, a couple logistics. If you haven't found them yet, the bathrooms are out this door and on the left before you reach the lobby. Lunch will be in the Kahana room, so directions there. As you're going to walk through the lobby towards the bar, the buffet will be set up in front of the bar, and then there's a room to the left of that. There'll be people to direct you where we're going to have lunch. There will also be an afternoon snack during the afternoon break, and that will be in the same place breakfast is right now. So everyone got a folder. If you do not have a folder, there's more out front at the registration table. I would encourage you to write your name on it since everyone has one of two colors, so you don't lose it. But in your folder, there's a copy of the agenda. But I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page, so I'm going to go over a couple of things. We'll spend the morning here in the new Albany Ballroom. And then, for the most part, we'll spend the time here. And then in the afternoon, from 1 to 2:45, you have 3 choices of breakout rooms to go to. The sessions are listed, and if you want to write down what room they're each going to be in, I will tell you that so you know where to go. This is on the back of the first page. The Stay Woke Ohio Gap Closers workshop will be in Bexley Ballroom 1. Living in the Culture Divide with OFCA's leadership team and board will be in here. And then What's Happening in Child Welfare with ODJFS will be in Bexley Ballroom 2. We will be around to direct you, but wanted you to know that. And they're all, the 2 ballrooms, not this one, are right across the hall. After the afternoon break, you get to choose another one of those workshops to attend, so you get to see 2 out of the 3, which is pretty great. For those getting CEUs or foster parent training credit, there is a sign-in sheet and a monitor in each room, one of the OFCA board members or team or myself or Dot. So sign in, make sure you sign in to each workshop, and we'll process that on our end. If you're getting CEUs, make sure you sign in with Dot on a special sheet so we get your social work number. And For those who need to take proof of training with them, there's a certificate of training in your folder, and you can have one of our team members sign it to verify you were in the workshop. There are also evaluations in the packet for each workshop and the entire conference. Please be sure to fill those out and turn those back into the registration table before the end of the conference. If you have any questions or need anything throughout the conference, please feel free to ask our team, Dot Erickson Anderson, or myself. Finally, I would like to introduce our current AmeriCorps Vista, who joined us just in time for the conference, Deontay Allen, to get us ready for today.
Everybody give it up for Ella. Please clap it up for Ella, please. How you guys feeling this morning? Feeling good? If you can hear me clap once, if you can hear me clap twice. All right. Yeah, if you can't tell, I used to work at a public school, so I like a little interaction, all right? So as Ella said, I am our new current AmeriCorps Vista member. So my role, just with OFCA, is to figure out the language that you all are using and figuring out what barriers are created for the children and families that we serve. I'm going to get right into it. So, as you understand, everybody here is aware of what the title of today is. So I kind of just wanted to start with an open question, no pressure. We're going to do it like popcorn, but I need some type of interaction from you guys, all right? Check? All right. So can you please tell me, why is it important to know the role that we play? In the work that we do, why is it important to know the role that we play? So we can be successful at, say it again for me?
Successful in our role.
So we can be successful in our role. Anybody else? I really like that. One more. Being impactful. That's a great answer. When we know the role we play, it creates room for some character development. When we know our role, we are better equipped to reimagine and appropriately identify the barriers that disrupt the futures of family and children in Ohio. Today, our intention is to empower you all to define your role so that you can identify where in your own lives you have the capacity to create change in our collective mission to care for children. There is a need for this work. And with that being said, we want to welcome you to this year's conference and thank you for your service. You guys could have been anywhere else, but you chose to spend $50 in your gas tank to get here. I know it's not cheap to be here today. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us, and I hope you all enjoy the conference. But now, with that out the way, if you can please join me in welcoming our next speakers for the morning. Please give a round of applause for the team from the Ohio Gap Closers. Clap them all the way up to the stage. Keep it going. Yeah. Let's make them feel welcome.
This guy's there.
Keep it going.
Here we go.
I've got 16,000 dreams swirling in my head. 16,000 seeds to be watered, planted, and fed. I've got 16,000 dreams waiting for me to open my eyes and decide that today I will make this day count. I've got 16,000 words ready to be written, ready to be crafted into stories to be told, stories to be printed, to be used like community language, like native tongues reminding us that we are all interconnected like 16,000 pieces of a complicated puzzle, each piece unique but essential to the whole world waiting for the complete Van Gogh, an imperfectly perfect picture, you and I only shades blended into a unique hue, composed of notes of a bigger symphonic sound. Sounds like justice, sounds like joy, because joy with no justice is no light, but we illuminate the darkest path. A sea of hope amidst mountains that fear change, scripted with 16,000 names. We are willing to turn the dream into a vision, walk the path upon a rich foundation, carry seeds of the future in our pockets. With our communities on our backs, we ready to fight for a new tomorrow. Never forgetting that in 16,000 seconds, our world can be more beautiful in 16,000 different ways. Each day, another gift given to us to nurture more dreams. So today, be a flower. Open yourself to the sun. Take in the possibility and align your mind and your heart, because our 16,000 are waiting for us.
So good morning. My name is Mark Bobo, serving as one of the co-founders of the Ohio Gap Closers. And again, we're so excited and privileged to be here today to work on behalf of the children and our families. So I want to kind of set the tone for, is it all right if I kind of move around? This podium feels a little limited. Can you all still hear me?
Oh, yeah, better.
Awesome. So this relationship that OFCA and OGC have had has been over the last 12 months. This has been a very exciting time. The leadership team has been awesome to work with, and as they know, we always go through these agreements when we have time together. Very important that as we have this day together, we're going to be challenged, we're going to hear some things that we'll agree with, we're going to hear some things that we may not agree with. But the important thing is that we stay engaged, stay locked in, because we're all going to learn and grow together as we spend time today. So obviously, we're in safe space, we're in brave space, we're in confidential space. Please know, you may hear me say something that may surprise you, but don't hold it against me. Let's stay friends the whole day. Want to listen and engage actively, always speaking your own truth and assuming that everyone here has good intentions. Also understanding that we have disagreement and discomfort, and that is okay. Because at the end of the day, we have a shared success and a shared responsibility, because we all want to make sure that we're doing what's best for children and families. Can we all agree with that?
Amen.
If you agree with that, let me put your hands together and say, I agree with that. So very quickly, I want to introduce this illustrious team that I have a privilege of working with. We have here Raquel Armstrong, who presently serves. Give her a round of applause again. Currently serves as the assistant principal at Beckley City Schools, but more importantly, she's one of the sharpest people that are walking around today. And y'all just saw a little bit of the talent that she has, but if you get her talking with her, I'm not even gonna go there. She's the bomb. All right, we have Mr. Taylor Porter. Please give him a round of applause. Taylor Porter presently serves as the principal of Gamble Montessori High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. He has years of experience working with children, not only in as the principal, but previously working in different roles in the child welfare system. So glad to have Taylor here. And of course, Mr. Travis Porter, give him a round of applause. Well over 20 years of experience in the child welfare system. So privileged to work with these guys, and we're excited to be here. All right, harsh reality. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. But on any given day, there are 16,000 children that are being cared for in the child welfare system. 16,000. Amazingly, that number seems to be increasing as each year goes by. You think about that, because oftentimes we see pictures of children and we think they're one-off cases, but the reality is there are way too many children just in the state alone that are in the child welfare system. At some point, it begs the question, what's happening with these children? What are the results and successes for these children, and what are we doing to make sure that they get there? Even more important, what are we doing importantly behind the families that are responsible for these children? 16,000 is the number. And I know this is an overused phrase, but I think sometimes we have all reached a point of insanity. because we ask the same questions over and over again. But how often do we challenge ourselves to do something different to make sure that outcomes for these children and families changes? I mean, how many times have we been disappointed with stories we see on the news? How the child welfare system is portrayed. And we shake our heads, right? Y'all can talk back to me, right? We shake our heads and we say, why are we going through this again? But where we're challenged today is how we're going to do things differently so we don't remain in the same type of system. We think about it, sometimes life brings you to a place that you don't expect. And it's a perfect storm of situations. Just 2 years ago, we were all going to the grocery store, we're all driving our cars, we're all going to work, doing our thing. And all of a sudden, somebody comes on the news and talks about COVID-19. When I heard about it, I'm like, okay, they're gonna shut down the office for maybe a couple of days, but then we go right back to work, right? We're all thinking like that. But we're shut in our homes for months. And during that time, inefficiencies in all spaces were exposed. During that time, if you didn't watch the news, you were forced to watch the news. And during that time, we saw some events and occurrences that shook all of us up. I mean, listen, we had to see George Floyd in our own very eyes. We had to see protests, advocacy at the highest level in all of our streets. You were forced to see it. And here's where it gets very real. Too many of our children that look like me were caught up in situations that were exposed during this time. We shake our heads. Man, that's a shame. But what are we actually going to do about it? So just the facts. Children who experience child welfare are members of a subordinate group already, and child welfare and children of color, therefore, are double defined in a subordinate caste, meaning whose kinship families are members of lower socioeconomic status and are triple, tripartite subject caste. Here's all I'm saying. Children of color are already in a subordinate class. Then you put on top of it that too many of them are in lower socioeconomic status. It's a double win that we no longer can deny. Here's what's scarier, and I know these numbers look very small, but I'll try to capture it very quickly. Children of color, these numbers down here, make up about 30% of the overall child population in our state. However, those same 30% of kids make up close to 50% of the children in child welfare. That disproportion is staggering. But man, we shake our heads. Oh, that's a shame. But what are we actually going to do about that? And that's our challenge today, because this is us. We're not talking about anybody else. This is us. So, I want to share this video. I may need your help, Taylor, with the audio. But this is very important. It's about 10 minutes, but it's a very insightful video in regards to how the child welfare system impacts our children. Hard to hear, but we have work to do. And so today, OFCA and OGC, we've been working together for the last 12 months to identify how best to look at child welfare policy Because everybody knows at the end of the day, if you don't make the impact on the policy, it will directly impact the actual practice. So we look at the policy, see how best we can make change on behalf of children. So I'm gonna give it over to Travis to talk more about how it takes a village to close the gap.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Again, my name is Travis. Thank you guys for giving us the privilege and honor to speak in front of you guys today. What I want to do is give you an overview, a look back over the last year. I'm going to give you an overview of the things we did on this project. But first, I just want to take a look at, the year 2021/22 up to this point. As my colleague mentioned, 2020 was a disastrous, tumultuous mess. It was the year of COVID. And 21-22, COVID is still here, as we all know. But COVID has done some zigs and some zags, but we've made progress. We've moved forward a little bit. Schools have opened, closed, and reopened again. Some other things that happened throughout the year, I'm a big sports guy, if you guys don't know. Milwaukee Bucks won the championship last year, and then just last night, Golden State won the championship. Anybody that was Dub City Nation fans, that happened last night. Some strange things happened over the last year. That team up north beat our beloved Buckeyes. That happened. I hear some Buckeye fans in the room. So there were strange and historic things happening all year. Joe Biden took office with a historic vice president, Kamala Harris. Vaccines became readily available. Political and social unrest continued. Protests, rallies happening on a regular. Mass shootings continued or happens on a regular in our churches, in our schools, in our camps where kids are at. Happening too often, frequently. Another one happened just this past week. Meanwhile, here in Ohio, all these things are going on. All these things are happening. All these changes are happening. Congress is trying to make new bills to fight gun control. People are trying to make improvements. But meanwhile, here in the state of Ohio, we still have 16,000 kids in the child welfare system. 16,000 kids. In my 20 plus years, I don't want to age myself, I'm just going to say 20 plus years. My 20 plus years of being in child welfare or / mental health system, I hear so many stories. I've heard so many stories. Parents saying to me, I've made some mistakes. They said my child was in danger, but he wasn't in danger. My family's helping me. My mother's helping me. My aunts and uncles help me. They help me watch the kids. But they took my child from me. Mr. Travis, I've done everything I can. Everything they've asked of me. But my child hasn't come home yet. I got a job. I got food in the house in the refrigerator. They do the checks. I moved to a new house, a safer house, in a new neighborhood, best that they could afford. One parent told me, seems like every time I get close to the goal line or to the finish line keeps moving. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been some improvements made. There's things happening. People in our administrations, our president, our governor, has shined a light on the disparities in our system. But OGC and OFCA wanted to take a deeper look. We wanted to dive a little deeper and to see how we can affect the policies, as Mark mentioned, to affect change. So in July of 21, Our project began with a motto of shared work, shared success. Basically saying OFCA and us, we both got shared responsibility in making this project successful. We wanted to work together collaboratively to make sure this project went forward and was successful. In August, we began to formulate a plan of how to put that project together. When that project started, we started off talking about parent groups. Parent groups. The parent groups met monthly. We discussed various topics. And this afternoon, or in our next hour, we'll get a breakdown of that from Mr. Mark Bobo. He'll talk about some of the topics we covered and how we kind of took a deeper look at some of the changes and things we could do. August, September, we began to take a deeper dive into the policies, into what is actually in the books, what's actually written. And Ms. Raquel, who you heard earlier, she took a look at that. And she's going to break that down for you in our next hour, in our roundtables. The next part of our work was the survey process. In that survey process, we first said, let's get a pool of people. Let's get a big gathering of people. So when we're ready to actually roll out the survey, we have people to pull from. So we released a pre-survey, got some interest, got people from all around the state to say, hey, yeah, I would like to participate in this project. Then in February, we actually launched the survey. The survey was online. We released it. It had time constraints, and people got back to us with that information. But after we did the survey, we wanted to take a closer look. We wanted to select a targeted group of those survey participants to have a focus group so we can get some contextual information, so we can get a closer look at some of the experiences and stories that they had to share. So we took the focus group, we took the survey, we took the policies, we took the parent groups, we gathered all that information, put all that into our masterpiece, our white paper, our final project. We submitted that work, and it is a great work, if I say so myself. But at that point, we were towards the end of our project, and we are now on to Mr. Taylor Porter.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right. So I'm going to follow Mr. Bobo's lead and come a little bit closer. Thank you, Travis. And thank you, truly, for just being with us this morning, showing up. This is really, and I'll talk about this more in detail shortly, it's really a big deal. Being able to come to these type of spaces and places, it's a wonderful way to make some short-term impact. You're deepening your understanding. This is a part of the process of gaining information so you can go out there and understanding your role and affect change in a good way. So for the next few minutes, my team has allowed me to have the easiest job in the world, which is to really brag about my family a little bit, okay? And kind of tell you guys, we talked about some of the national situations, and we know this morning is really about hyper-focused on the state of Ohio, the system here in Ohio, but this is really personal work for myself, my team, which is my family. This is something that we take very, very seriously, in fact. And whether we look at ourselves and our agencies or our families or our support groups today in modern times, or if you look at historical individuals that affected change in a good way, let's say in social work, you can go back to influential social workers like Jane Addams. When you're talking about social justice, the list goes on and on as well, right? You heard a clip from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. there's so many people right now and historically that recognize an issue and did their part to affect change. But for me, I think the next few minutes I want to just express that it's not really one person's job to fix the system that we're talking about, okay? It's not just about Miss Jane Addams or Martin Luther King. It's not just about Ohio Gap Closure solving this issue of racism, which has been here for centuries and centuries. It's not up to us to solve racism individually. We do play a role. It's not up to OFCA to fix this problem on their own. I think at the end of the day, if you want to go fast, yeah, sure, go. But if you really want to go far, it's about the collective, about the collaboration, about working with your neighbors, working with your colleagues, working with other organizations. And that's really what I think we've been able to demonstrate over the past 12 months alongside of OFCA, is really being able to deepen our understanding and lay a foundation to really affect change in a good way on the ground and at the policy level as well. Okay, here we go. Why do we care? Why do I care? And if you know me well, you probably heard me say this at least 1,000 times. I'll say it every day I'm given the opportunity. I'm a product of the world's greatest mother. I'm a very, very lucky man. My mom was truly awesome, and my father as well. Born and raised in Northeast Ohio, lived in the great state of Ohio my entire life, from Alliance to Cincinnati to Dayton to Columbus, and I'm back in Cincinnati for the long term at this point. But ultimately, our origins and my origins started in Northeast Ohio with Ms. Louise Porter, my mother, and quote in front of you, to love a child is so interesting. I take 10 more, which in fact should have taken about 60 more when it's all said and done. I take 10 more if they give them to me. You can help direct them in the right way. And so this is just a photo, a news clipping of my mother. My mother and father were foster care parents for a lifetime. And when I say that, it goes beyond foster care. We have friendly towners, it's kinship care, it's the town's babysitting services, it's cousins, it's neighbors. When we grew up in the small white farmhouse at 1361 West Vine Street in Lyons, Ohio, it was like the town's hub of love, of care, of support, and really my mother instilled, I think, in our family, the idea of you take care of your family and you give all thanks to God at all times, okay? And so she didn't instill in us, you have to go vote. She didn't instill in us, you have to make a lot of money. She didn't instill in us anything besides you take care of your family and you give all thanks to God, okay? So I'm really, really just eternally grateful for the lessons that we learned at an early age. And again, we have such a mixed family experience, right? It's black, it's white, it's adoption, it's foster care, it's kinship care. We really are just so lucky that our mom didn't listen to us, because quite frankly, we say, what the heck is going on? Like, please, who is this? Like, when you come home from school, you have an expectation. I'm just my mom at home, what she does. Who is this guy? Why is there always a new person here? And so, quite frankly, Travis, you would share, come on, it's like,
I'm vouching for you.
we didn't understand it when we were young. I don't get it. What are you doing? Like, really, what's happening? But it's a God-given gift. You know, when you are working in your passion, when you are living your purpose, it's not for everyone to understand. It's not. You may not understand it. And, you know, thank goodness I was able to grow and mature myself, and I've got my own family, my wife, my children, and, you know, I have such an enlightenment now. And as I look back every day, it just makes me stop and reflect on the foundation that our parents provided for us. It's the same message I give to my own family. It's a message I give to all 700 of my students in Cincinnati Public Schools, in my specific building. And quite frankly, I think it holds true to this day. There's so much political unrest. There's so much social unrest. Here's what I know. You're intentional, you take care of your family, you build up your family, you strengthen your family, you thank the man upstairs. You got a good shot at being okay in the long run, okay? So again, our family truly started out dirt poor. There's 13 of us. My mom was a full-time stay-at-home caretaker. My dad worked at a steel factory for, 35, 40 years. I think he retired making like $48,000. We're all 6'3" and hungry. Like, I don't know how any of this actually worked out. I don't know. But God is good, and it did work out. And so, we had a wonderful upbringing, and, my family is just incredibly successful today. And I've got family members that served in the Marines, and the Army, and the National Guard. I've got family that went on further education, and bachelor's, and master's, and doctorates. And so, I think what that brings us to is an organization like Ohio Gas Closures, right? In 2016, my mother passed. She's no longer here, okay? And recently, we talked about this, and you all experienced it. COVID-19 is a real thing. My father passed. He's no longer with us either, okay? And so, all of us have lost loved ones at some point. And if you have not, we will at some point, right? And so what happened for us is just like any other human being, you go through a period of grieving. And it looks different, and it lasts for different amounts of time. It's just kind of an individual thing. Everybody responds differently. And I think after a point in time, our family decided that yes, grieving will probably take place for a lifetime, okay? You're never gonna get back the world's greatest mother, right? There's only one Michael Jordan. That's how it works, okay? But what we thought would be most appropriate is to reflect on the lessons learned and put our gifts to work to take the mission of my mother, Louise Porter, my father, Ray Porter, and really lean on that experience and education that we have and say, how can we do this in this modern day and age and take it further and go faster, and build more capacity, and help out even more than what we did in Stark County, Alliance, Ohio, okay? So again, my mother was, without question, the world's greatest mother. We also had the world's greatest dad, right? What you see on the screen behind me is a picture of my dad and myself. I'm in there somewhere, probably a good-looking guy. And there's also my brother, so not so good-looking guys, okay? So this is a photo of the guys that really helped me stay safe and have an opportunity to just grow up and learn and be successful along the way. So it's not just about me or my brothers. And again, this is a mixed family. It runs the gamut. It's foster, it's adoption, it's kinship, it's black, it's white, it's mixed. This is a very, I think, unique situation that I grew up in. And now, like I said, that we say mom and dad aren't here, what's my responsibility? To not let that go by the wayside. What's our responsibility? To not let that go and just stop, but to keep it ongoing. Well, we believe that we have the ability to help adults build capacity, right? Even if I do a wonderful job for my 3 children, or if I do a wonderful job to provide a strong, healthy, bright future for my 700 students, there's 16,000 young boys and girls right now that may not be in that watch care. So we think we have an opportunity to collaborate and to build capacity across more organizations, across more agencies, across more adults, more teachers, more workers, more managers, more directors, more neighbors. And I think that's where we have an opportunity to really affect change, okay? And so, over the past 4 going on 5 years at this point, yeah, sure, we've done opportunities like this morning. We've got a package of professional development services. We've been able to raise scholarships, not just for college, but for families that can't afford to pay for their lawyer, right? We've been able to really get out there and do children and family advocacy. There's a litany of services and consulting services, trainings and workshops that we want to provide far and wide to take the mission of Ray Louise Porter and bless another young man or young woman that's sitting in that number of 16,000 right now. So I think, you guys keep me on track of my time here, but there's a couple of things I want to really bring home before I introduce somebody to you that's really, really near and dear to my heart. We know about Ma'Khia Bryant at this point here locally. There's countless other examples. And what we are trying to guard ourselves against, what I believe is when you have a collective responsibility, you'll have an opportunity as an individual to just assume somebody else is going to do it. Well, I don't have to worry about it. Mark's got it. Well, it's okay. Raquel's going to do it. But not today. I think Alpha's going to do it today. I'll worry about it tomorrow. Okay? So we have an opportunity, really, to be self-reflective and think about, what have I already done to affect change in a good way? What could happen on a short term? What can happen on a long term if I really want to affect change in the right way? Okay? And again, I think this is an incredible example of a short-term opportunity to affect change. You woke up this morning, you got dressed, hopefully in the lights, because some people got hit hard by the storms this week. You got here on time, you're engaging with the people at your table, you're hyper-focused on this presentation, you are deepening your understanding of the racism in our child welfare system, okay? That's a big step. It matters. You've got to really just understand, if you do want to go out and play in a different swim lane on how to affect change, it starts with arming yourself with information, arming yourself with some education, so you can be well prepared when you get to that next space and place. Okay? Short-term opportunity. Acknowledge racism exists. Yes, we have data. It's local, it's state, it's national. Yes, we have narratives. Yes, we have police brutality. Yes, we have disproportionate outcomes in every one of our institutions. Child welfare, education, healthcare, incarceration, employment. It is not like a secret that no matter which institution we talk about, there's a group of people that are at the bottom. This is not a secret. Acknowledge that racism exists is an incredible and very important step. We don't have to whisper it. Is it racism? I don't know. Is racism here? I don't think racism. No. Racism exists. We're going to talk about it this morning. We're going to acknowledge it. And we're going to address it. We're going to talk about some short-term opportunities to affect change. We're going to have some conversation, really, for the remainder of today around what could be some long-term opportunities, and it delves into policy. That's a really big deal. Okay? So I hope I've been able to express a little bit around why I care. Why does the team of Ohio Gap Closers, why do we care? It is personal work from the very beginnings of our family. Here's another reason why we care. I'm going to ask Serena, if you want to come on up, I'm going to pass the microphone. It's not bio, it's not Foster, it's all of the above. And so I want to introduce you guys to my younger sister here, who is just incredible. Whether you're talking about what are you doing right now to affect change, and what are you going to do long term to affect change, please give a warm, hearty welcome to Serena.
Hi everyone. Like Taylor said, my name is Serena Draper Hendershot, and I am both him and Travis's little sister. I am the 13th child that came across Louise Porter's household. And so I wanted to just give you a gist of like why this work is so important, because I'm a product of why this work is important. I mean, it says all those things are there, but being a product of why this work is important is because my biological mother, I was raised by her she was in my life. And my biological mother is Laverne Draper. And at the age of 3 years old, Louise Porter started watching me and my little brother. And babysitting us, like when you talk about the babysitting house, like literally there was nothing but like 20 plus kids there at a time, half the time. And so I've been in the household since I was 3 years old. And at the time it came to a point of, given the barriers and the obstacles that my mom was going through, Louise and Ray actually basically was raising me at that same point. And in my life, my mom actually moved over to Florida when I was 15 years old. She was making the decision to move. And given how much I had been implemented into the Porter family, how much I love the Porter family, but also being a 15-year-old who's a freshman in high school and not trying to make change, I had asked the opportunity of, can I just live with her? Can I just live with my Porter family? And I have 2 other siblings biologically. I'm an older sister and a little brother, and they actually went to Florida with my mom, and I ended up staying. And when I tell you it was nothing but a God thing, it was just a covering that's been on my life. It has definitely been that. And so from that time, when you talk about when I talk about like, they're talking about the barriers that a lot of youth have when they're displaced. Me standing up here right now is breaking statistics. My mom was, she had a lot of addictions. She had healthcare issues, while also my biological father, not in my life at all, is currently actually having those same issues right now. And so to come from that background, whether it's mental health, addiction, all these different things, and not have those things standing up here right now is just a testament to like my life. Because I'm in awe of the fact that I don't have those issues. And so in my time frame of being in the Porter household from 15 up until now, and just being a part of the family, watching, when you talk about having like the best mother in the world, that like I don't say that like lightly, like definitely the rock in my life, and why I'm standing here today. And so the weight of asking someone, can you take care of their child, even though you have the capability to do so, and you still do it knowing that you're also taking care of, I think, 5 grandchildren at the time, is just something that no one without that heart can do, right? And so in that time frame, just being a part of the family has been something that I just give an all to the testament of what Taylor was saying is, she told us to embrace our family and to give our first fruits to God. And so that is something that I've been on a journey in ever since I've been young. And so thinking about my life and just kind of the generational curses that have been on my life is just a testament of how important the Porter family has been to me. And so now my background, I am the only one in my biological family that has went off to the military. I have 6 years of experience in the Army National Guard. I am a first generation college graduate in my biological family with my bachelor's in political science and history. And in this time frame, I have now I have now been in multiple positions where I've got workforce development experience, higher ed experience, education experience, and also nonprofit experience. And most currently, I actually serve in the role as Community Health Equity Coordinator at the Kansas City Public Health. And when you talk about foster care system and the racism that's embedded within our state and within the local systems, that's exactly what my role is doing right now. And so I got to this place in my story. So my biological mom, she lost her life at the age of 58 to heart disease. Louise Porter, she was only 63. Ray Porter was only 69. And so in knowing the systems that are already set up within our healthcare system, that is kind of what brought me into my role today, is because it is statistically speaking, Black people are losing their lives at a higher rate than any other race in our country. And so that's kind of my side of the work and why I believe this work is super important. But then just thinking about just the background that my biological family has, my little brother is incarcerated right now and will be up until he is the age of 32 years old. And that right there is just another thing that when you talk about just the brokenness that happens in families because of the systems that are put in place, that is another reason why the work that they're doing is super valuable and super important. And so, yeah, just a testament to the life and just the opportunity to be a part of the Porter family, and just the ways in which the seeds were planted when the Lord Louise Porter was raising me, just says so much. And for me, I am just watching God really just orchestrate my steps in all that I do. And that is nothing but a testament to how she raised me.
All right, so Serena, you're incredible. Thank you so much. I think right now we may be in a really good place to do our, let's call it 10 or 15, let's go 15 minute. I'm looking for Ella or Doc to give me a thumbs up. We're gonna take a 15-minute break right now. I've got 10:10 on my watch. Why don't we stretch our legs, use the restroom, refill the coffee, and at 10:25, I wanna come back and walk you through our next hour, in which we're gonna go really deep on policy, survey data, and parental groups. So I'll see you guys at 10:25 a.m. Thank you.